Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Mazel Tov to the one and only Doron Kornblue, that becoming a very first time grandfather. Rabbi Sai, Mark Ashkenazi, you can ask Mark for this video. He sent me this video of a woman, Mrs. Lowenstern, whose husband was killed in Gaza. It was incredible. I think everybody should watch it. It's full of emunah and bitachon on a very, very high level. But I just want to play for you, not the video, because we have a lot of different people that watch the shir and this, that. I do want to play a small piece that I thought would give chizuk to the olam. Basically, she's discussing how her husband utilized every moment of his life for the good. She's talking about when he was working out, when he did sit-ups. Listen to this. You got to hear this. Put on some volume here.
Rare thing that I saw in him, he did not waste time. He did not waste time at all. He would do sit-ups. So he had this app that you can do, let's say, 50 sit-ups, and then you have a minute, you have like a stopwatch. You have a minute to rest between sets. So within this minute, he would get up. He had an open Mishnayot. He would learn Mishnayot for a minute. And then when the app called him back, he would go back, do the squats or whatever, the push-ups or whatever. And then he had another minute. He would learn Mishnayot for a minute. On the 7th of...
So here he is learning Gemara. They have 6 children together. The oldest is 12 and a half. Which one? Okay. So anyways, the Olam should watch the whole thing. It's an unbelievable piece. Unbelievable. She's talking b'simcha. These are people that live on a different level. Like the way they view life and everything else is unbelievable. So his neshama should have an aliyah. It should be a chizuk. I mean, to learn from him that every minute counts. You can chop another chazara, another few lines, another this. 1 minute here, 1 minute there. That's all it is. Rabbi say this is the Chabur in Manchester watching the shir live last night. Hey Rebbe, hope all is well. Just listening to the daf today and heard about Baruch's platoon needing a new drone. What's the cost of it? So Baruch Hashem, somebody came forward and donated a $6,000 drone at $6,000. If anybody wants to add to that, Donnie's still accepting. Just contact Yosef Billyack and we'll figure it out. Talking about Yosef Billyack, Yochanan Itzkowitz wrote here, while watching Daf Nun Vav, my son asked me if we can move to RBS. Since he saw candy dropping from the ceiling during the shir, that looks like a lot more fun than his classroom. He also had to make sure that we bring raincoats, since he said it looks like Eli likes to spritz everyone with water during the shir. Kudos to Yosef Billyack for keeping the daf exciting and refreshing every single day. And happy birthday to Zalman Tzvi, Yochanan Itzkowitz. It has happened a couple of times, this person writes, that while watching the unedited recording of this shir is finished, editing starts and the video goes private. Today it happened right in the middle of the shir. Is it possible to edit a copy of the video and then upload the edited copy, either with a second URL or in place of Kitzer? Michael Lowe from Manchester. So Yosef is saying here like this. First of all, while the shir is live, if you subscribe to YouTube, you'll get a notification when the shir goes live. It'll remind you, kedai to subscribe. And then you can watch it as is. Later on, Yosef edits it, takes a few hours. Hopefully we can knock it down a little bit, make it quicker. And all those views, so usually there's a couple hundred views, all those get erased. And I'm saying that for a reason. And then he uploads the new version. But if you're in the middle of watching it on that, you're going to get cut off. So I'm just saying, let's say you go on YouTube right now, it says 3,000 views, it's really 3,500. That's all I was trying to say. But where's Yosef? He's not here. Okay. Anyways, you can watch the shir on YouTube, all daf, Torah Zoom, Torah Anytime, Spotify, 8-minute daf, WhatsApp, Telegram, and probably more. The Koilel, Yedidya Pereira. The Koilel for the week is sponsored by Yedidya Pereira for zchus, for shidduchim, for these 3 gewaldige people. Chana Rochel Bas Michal, Chayim David ben Shalamis, and Shoshana Bracha Bas Shalamis. The Mazel Tov for the unity of Am Yisrael. The Parnas HaChodesh Yosef and Chaya Sara for all the zchusim that come from supporting limud HaTorah. Parnas HaChodesh, Yedidya Pereira, again, for those three people mentioned above. Parnas HaChodesh, Rav Noam, Avi, Gary, and Yosef for your relentless commitment to MDY. Parnas HaChodesh, Nishma Zechariah ben Moshe, Nishma Chaya bas Yosef. Voice side, we're holding basically the Daf Nun Tes, which means that we're halfway through Bava Kama. Halfway. It's gewaldig. And a very wild question. I only ask wild questions. A man had a woman, he caused damage to a woman where she lost her pregnancy. So you go, the Torah says you have to pay for the vlad, for the baby. You go to the market, the baby's worth $1,000, let's say. $1,000. Here's a wild child. Do we discount from the $1,000 the fact that this woman, had she gone through her entire pregnancy, she would have to take a taxi to the hospital, and she have to pay for the doctors and the stay at the hospital. So you have to take off at least $200 from that. It's future, yeah, it's future. But this guy that made her lose her pregnancy, he actually gained, there's a gain here for her and her husband. They gained $200. Do we take that into consideration? Sounds crazy. But in fact, the Gemara is going to say that yes, according to Woman the Omar, we have to take future losses and gains into consideration. So we were learning the sugya that when an animal causes damage, we have to assess the damage in a very interesting way. We don't say, okay, it ate 10 apples, you have to pay 10 apples. We time it by 60, we put it into 60 times 2, here it goes something like this. First, we have to evaluate it based on a field, and the field based on 60 fields. So it's actually two calculations. We don't view the 10 tomatoes as is, what you'd pay for 10 tomatoes in a store, $1 a tomato. Rather, you look at 10 tomatoes versus an entire field of tomatoes. And the entire field, the evaluation of the field is much less because we're going to go to evaluation one field in 60 fields. How much is one field if you're buying in bulk? For instance, over here is one field. If you want to buy one field, 1 acre today, the price is $1,000. If you were to buy 60 fields, the price wouldn't be 60 times 1,000, 60,000. You'd get a discount. Let's call that discount $50,000 for 60 acres. Yeah, if you bought a large plot, 60 acres, you get a discount. So it comes out that each field now is reduced to $833 versus $1,000. So already starting at a discounted price. Now you take that field and you say, okay, how much are these 10 tomatoes that this cow ate in one giant field? Can't be $10. Well, if you try to sell the field minus 10 tomatoes, somebody's going to drive you crazy. No, give me $10 off. Say, okay, $5, whatever it is. So it goes like this. That's what the animal ate. Tiny portion of that. Okay, it's 10 instead of 20. You get a discount, so it's a double discount. So then the Gemara brought a story, Mazel Tov, and the story was like this. A guy, not an animal, a human being went and destroyed somebody's palm tree. So the Rosh Gol said, oh, palm tree, since all three of them are worth 100, so he has to pay the exact value of the palm tree, which is 33.3. So Rava asks, don't you make a distinction between a human being and an animal? An animal, okay, the Torah says, you make this interesting calculation, a double calculation, 60 times. Well, a human being that deliberately caused damage and tore down somebody's tree, you're going to give him this crazy discount of multiplying the trees by 60? Say, okay, a guy bought 60 palm trees in bulk. Oh, by the way, one is missing. How much do you want off? Okay, take not 33, it'll be 22. You have to give him a discount. Why, says Rava? Isn't there a difference? So Bai says, why do you think there's a difference? And in fact, we say there is no difference. He says, you probably think there's a difference because there's a brisa that says that if a person goes and causes damage, he has to pay the difference of what it was before, and there's no mention of 60. The word 60 is not there. Says Abai, guess what? The word 60 isn't mentioned by an animal either. And we know that that's Everybody agrees it's 1 in 60, almost everybody. So just because it's not mentioned doesn't mean that we don't use the appraisal of 60. So by a human being, we're also going to use 60. It's not mentioned. Okay, it's not mentioned by an animal either. So that's where we're holding. So Rabbi Yosef Aglini over here says that if an animal eats a third, the wheat that only grew a third, let's call it $100 worth of damage. If that exact wheat would grow to its full potential, it would be $1,000. Says Rabbi Yosef Aglili, you have to pay $1,000. Why? Because we go with the potential. Now that the animal ate a third, potential. Chacham say no. Let's just take what the value was right before the animal ate that wheat and what it's worth today. Let's call it $100 damage, $100. And Rabbi Shua, we're holding here on the top. Achla smodar. What if the animal ate smodar? So here's smodar. Smodar is the grapes as they come out. They just start flowering. You could see if you look closely at the picture, you'll see tiny, tiny baby grapes. Smodar. The next stage is called boiser. Boiser are much larger. Here they are. You can see them, but they're not edible. If you wait a couple of weeks or whatever it is, these are very edible. Now we have to establish, if somebody came and ate boiser, he took off your boiser, how much damage did he cause you? Did he cause you the final product? Or zero? Right now, go try to sell this boiser in the store. How much will you get? Zero. But it has tremendous potential. All you have to do is wait 2 weeks and it's worth $20. On the other hand, smodar, look at this. This is like, you have to look with a microscope to see the potential. It's there. Each one of those flowers right over there, if you look closely, they're there. The different stages. So here, put all the stages together. You have a tiny little flower, that's stage 1. 2 is where there's a shoot. Basically, it's just a green, fresh branch with a few leaves. So that the Gemara is going to say that we're not going to go with any potential when it comes to a leaf. Yeah, you can't look at a leaf and say, oh, he ate a leaf, he ate a bunch of grapes. Boiser, on the other hand, everybody agrees, step number 4, that it's so close to being a grape. Here, let's show the picture again. It's so close to being a grape that we're going to consider it a fully grown grape. And the question that we really have is on the smodar stage, like the in-between. It's not a full grape, it's not a leaf, it's in between. So, says Rabbi Yeshua, smodar, if the animal ate this stage of smodar, Rabbi Yeshua says, no, we're going to give it its full potential. It's here. And this is our raya right here. We have to look, how much was it worth yesterday? These grapes. And how much is it worth today? If we take this line, it doesn't mention a word about 60. It says, how much were the grapes worth yesterday? There's a market for this stuff. You should tell somebody, hey, all you need to do is water it a little bit and wait 2 months, you're going to have beautiful grapes. How much do you want to pay? $20, $20. Okay. So the animal ate $20. It has some market. But he doesn't say, take these grapes and put it into a vineyard times 60, which the vineyard itself is in 60 other vineyards. I mean, it's a whole, doesn't say anything about that. Elamai, it's hidden in here. We're not going to go into the lengthy discussion. It's in here. So too by a human being. Just to point out, Rabbi Shua says, it goes by, you eat this smodar, you pay fully grown grape. What does Rabbi Yosef Lili say? Almost the same thing. The difference would be a beautiful chiddush in Taisvus on top, that when it comes to Rabbi Yosef Lili, he says we wait until these grapes or this wheat, Taisvus makes an afkamina, grapes, wheat, but we wait until the end. Let's see what's going to happen. Sometimes a locust comes and eats everything up. Sometimes there's no rain. So the animal's owner who ate the smodar will pay 0 because we're going to wait until the last day. Yeshua says, no, we don't wait till the last day. We pretend today's the last day. How much is a pound of good grapes? That's how much you're going to pay today. It's a very, very different shita. I'll go upon him and says like this.
Does the grapes when it's worth the 60th, or is it just regular grapes as the market price?
That's what the Gemara is saying, that you have to go Well, at least in Chachamim, but no, it's market price. We'll see in a second. Says Gemara, Reb Shimon Yehuda Omer, Mishum Reb Shimon, B'med Dvar Mamurim. When do you do this whole 60? Bisman Shachla Lulvig Fanim V'chur Teidim. When, let's go back to that thing. Lulig Fanim is step 2, a bunch of leaves and a nice green new branch. V'chur Teidim, the same steps you have when it comes to figs. Avalach la pagim oy boiser. But if you ate half-ripe grape, like this guy, boiser, half-ripe, it's almost there, but not yet. Now notice, what are the 2 steps he just spoke about? He skipped step number 3. He skipped smadar. He says, step number 2, you go 1 in 60. You double it, you multiply by 60, you do that whole cheshbon. Step number 4, there's no multiplication. You go straight to the store. How much is a pound of grapes? That's how much you pay. No 60. But he doesn't talk about smadar. Smadar is also a stage that the second word on this Amud talks about smadar. So Gemara is going to discuss it. But here's the raya. Abai is proving to Rava that when it comes to a human being causing damage, and it comes to an animal causing damage, there is no difference. And that's why there's some that say in the name of the Chavetz Chayim, that if you break your friend's window in his house, so you take the window and you figure out how much this window is worth compared to the entire house at a sale of a house. So the guy's going to sell his house for $500,000. And by the way, the bathroom window has a crack in it. Okay, it's still $500,000. So what's the damage to the window? 0. Therefore, you pay 0. Somebody wrote me an email that in fact, Rabbi First in Chicago passing like that. Okay, Chazanish argues, it's hard to understand that Chazanish says it's not for sale. You cause damage, pay damage. Okay. But how much is it worth today? How much was it worth yesterday? And there's no mention of shishim. But you're forced to say b'shishim. The Chachamim spoke about, you do this whole shishim multiplication. So too by a human being, it's multiplied by 60. And therefore, when Rav Nachman Paskin, when it came to the 3 palm trees, Rav Nachman said you cut down 1 palm tree, you have to multiply it by 60, and you get much less than what the Reish Galusa try to say, that it's the tree by itself. Now we're going to see, at the end of the day, they're both right in a way. We pass like the Reish Galusa, and we pass like Rav Nachman. Typically, we pass like Rav Nachman. In a very, very expensive tree, we pass like the Reish Galus. Omer Abaya, Rabbi Yosef Glili, Rabbi Shmuel, Omer Dover Echad. This amazing chiddush of Rabbi Yosef Glili, that when an animal eats food that has potential, today you can't eat it. But you look at it and you say, wow, these are going to be beautiful grapes. In 3 months, you pay what it's going to be worth in 3 months. That and Rabbi Shmuel, Amru Dover. Rabbi Shmuel also says the same thing. Why? Rabbi Yosef Glili Hadamar, we just explained it. Rabbi Shmuel the Tanya, the famous machlekes that we had here in this Masechta, made of Sedeu, made of Karma Yishalim. When a person causes damage to somebody else's field, his animal causes damage, we take from the best field. Now the question, we had a machlekes, whose best field? Is it the mazik, the damager, or the nizak? Made of Sedeu shel nizak, or made of Karma shel nizak, the Rabbi Shmuel. So we're going to go with Rabbi Shmuel and understand what in the world did Rabbi Shmuel say. Go by the best field of the nizak. Okay, does it make sense to you? This is the Gemara's question. The nizak has a field in the middle of Yerushalayim, in the old city. Each meter costs $100,000, and he has a field in Chulon. And over there, a meter costs $100, let's say. So the animal ate 20 meters. So because he has a beautiful field in Yerushalayim, in the old city, he's going to have to pay him a crazy number. That wasn't the damage the animal caused. So what's Pshat in Rabbi Shmuel? Before we get there, Rabbi Shmuel the opposite. We go by the best of the mazik. The mazik has to give his best field. If he's going to pay him with real estate, pay from your best. And certainly when it comes to hegdish, if you damage Hashem stuff, pay from the best. So the Gemara says, don't explain Rabbi Shmuel, because it's really schwer. Well, if a person, this is the lashon of the Gemara that Rashi brings. If the animal ate something terrible, he's going to have to pay the best of the best. The Yerushalmi field. So Ravidi Barovin said a pshat. Don't say this pshat. We have another pshat that fits into our sugya. What happened was there's a bunch of patches. There's a big field with different patches of tomatoes. Some are terrible. Some have worms. Some are juicy and red. And the animal ate one patch, We see the aftermath. We see that the animal, we saw a video, the animal came in and ate this entire area right here. Now we don't know what existed there. Was it the bad stuff or the good stuff? Look around, find the best juicy tomatoes. What's the value of those tomatoes? That's what this animal has to pay. Does that make sense to anybody? No. You don't say that. Why? Tire shots, we say, you prove it. If you can prove it, I'll pay it. Why should I pay the best? So then what's pshat over here that he pays from the nizak? Ella, says the Gemara, that fits into our sugya. Ella b'meitav d'lekamei. What Rabbi Shmuel is saying is that you go to the potential of what could have happened by the nizak. When your animal eats wheat that only grew a third, you pay the full amount when it's fully grown. When your animal eats grapes that are not edible, you're going to pay me grapes that are edible. Umayniu? No. There is a raya. He agrees. He says, there is no question here what happened. My animal ate smodar right over here. My animal ate this. Okay, he ate it. Yeah. How much does he pay? Potential or today? The halacha is, the Torah is saying, pay potential. He took away my potential.
You don't know what it's going to be.
Oh, that? No. So there's no. So you're going to go general. There's a general market. You know what the average is. A pound of, I'll tell you right now, I used to buy grapes. They cost 40 shekel a kilo. I don't know. Let's say that there's an average. So you want a little less, 35. But that's not the question here. The question is, right now it's zero. Try to sell this in the market. Nobody will give you a dime for this. Do I pay potential or not? Rabbi Shmuel says I pay potential. That's the chidushim. Omar, you want to wait until the potential? You want to wait until they bring it to market? Bring it to market. Here, this is Cabernet Sauvignon, and this is how much it costs in the market. That's it. There's a market for it. Omar, Rabbi Shmuel, let's go.
It's the same as Yisrael. It applies to both things. That's what I'm saying.
No. It's not a Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov means I don't know if you wait A or B. A Mazel Tov. We don't know if the animal ate. I don't know if the animal ate cucumbers or tomatoes.
We don't know what happened.
You prove. I don't know what happened in the field. Over here, I know what happened. Over here, exactly. Over here, I know. I just don't know what the value is. No, there is a value when it's fully grown, and there's no value when it's not grown. That's not a question.
We don't know what he ate.
He ate. No, he ate.
We don't know if he ate good tomatoes or bad tomatoes.
That's Amud Beis. You're right. No. We're talking about smother now. We're talking about Yes, we're jumping to different case.
No, you don't know what it's going to be. Maybe the wind's going to come and mess it up. Maybe it's going to get frostbite. Maybe an animal's going to eat. You don't know. You don't know anything.
That's Rabbi Yosef Galili, and Rabbi Yosef Galili says, are you listening? Rabbi Yosef Galili says that you go with the potential, but you wait until the potential happens, wait until all the other grapes grow, and see if they got to that potential. And then you weigh a pound of grapes, you go to the market, how much is that, and then that's how much you have to pay. Rabbi Shmuel argues, and he says, no, you go with potential like Rabbi Shua. Today potential. You decide. Okay.
That's what I'm asking you. You're gonna go with that. It doesn't work.
Okay. Omar. Reb Shimon ben Yehuda, Reb Shimon. Okay, so we learned. Only if he ate shoots, leaves that don't have any sign of grapes. The Gemara is now just going to talk about what happened to step 3. You skipped step 3 completely. You spoke about leaves have you go based on 60 evaluation. Boiser, which are half grapes, they go by full potential, but you skipped smother. If you want to make a diuk, so from the ratios mashma like this, that they're considered complete smother, but if you go by the sefer, which says dafka boiser, step 4 is considered complete, would seem like that step 3 is not complete. So we have a little bit of a contradiction. In other words, bottom line is, what's the halacha on smother? You only do the 60. You're right. Yeah, good point. So smother has to be put in there somewhere. Smother is not here. There's 2 stages. There's leaves that you multiply by 60. But if you eat smother, which is stage 3, or Pagano Bois, which is stage 4, right, nice, and then we go with the full potential residence. As the Gemara, okay, so you tell me that Reb Shimon holds that smother has a halacha like stage 4 that we're going to take the full potential. If you look at the first line on this Amud, it says, if you ate stage 3, you give it its full potential. So Reb Shua, who says you give full potential, is saying the identical thing to Reb Shimon ben Yehuda says you give it the full potential. What's the difference? This is an incredible chiddush. When my animal eats your grapes and it caused $100 damage, my animal did you a big, huge favor. It prevented the deterioration of the vineyard. He gave you a milah. Now you get another extra year on your vineyard. You have to pay me for that. How much is that worth? And we're going to say chidushim like this that's going to make you jump out of your seat. Chas v'shalom. No. This is real value. It's evaluation. Evaluation. Why is it diamond? It's evaluation.
That's what saying in
No.
You hit me, you caused me bloodlet, you were my doctor. That's what they said in Tzedek.
Abai Omar Chas v'shalom.
It is?
Abai Omar Mesayim Mesayim. So anyways, V'lo Mesayim means I don't know which one said which. Is it Reb Shimon? He's wrong.
People take grapes so that there's more energy going through it.
People do that today.
And people do bloodletting. That was what Eliezer ben Avram said. That's exactly the Sara he said.
Abai Omar Mesayim Mesayim. So Abai says, I know who said it. I don't know if you say you don't know if it's Reb Shimon. Sure, I know who said it. Now you're going to get really upset, Nachman. Mantana, the Chayish l'Chash Gufna. Who's this Tana? Reb Shimon ben Yehuda. The son, Reb Shimon ben Yehuda. Reb Shimon ben Asya. Oines. A man who violates a woman. Ein mishalem satzar. She has tsar because she lost her psulim. He doesn't have to pay it. Why? She's going to lose her psulim anyways with her husband, and he's going to be mitzar. So remove some of that tsar from. You don't have to pay it. In other words, we're going to take into consideration the future pain. We're going to take into consideration future value of a vineyard. We have to take into consideration the future. We can't be blinded that certain things cause benefits also. He asked him a great question. Well, there's still much more tsar from the violator than the husband. So Rashi says, you're right. There is more tsar, but you can't ignore the tsar. So in other words, if from a scale from 1 to 10, a violator causes 10 tsar, and a husband causes 5 tsar, so the violator has to pay from 1 to 5. That for sure. He has to pay from 5 to 10. He has to pay the difference in the extra tsar. You're right, we'll remove whatever that tsar of the husband that he caused, we'll remove that from the bill. She still gets tsar from the violator, from the manas. Omar Abai. We see this idea that we consider future. Omar Abai. And it gets even better. Reb Shimon ben Yehuda, we just said Reb Shimon ben Yehuda considers the oinus, the tsar of the psulim later, and also the grapes. And who else talks about this? The Sanya Rabbi Yosef. Nachi Chaya. Oh, and this is the thing that if that's by us, tell him to stop until 8 o'clock, please. Listen to this. This is the question how we started this year today. This individual caused this woman to lose her pregnancy. You have to take into consideration that the husband would have had to pay a medical bill for the hospital. He saved in the medical bill. I hear it sounds like Zdaim he's saying. Nachim is oinus. This is Givaldik, don't tell this to your wives. What pregnant woman? Naki Chaya, I said. I know, you're all excited about this halacha, you didn't have that I said it. Nachim is oinus. Yeah, positive.
Check the video.
I will. Nachim is oinus that the...
Stop rubbing my back.
Wow. A woman who's pregnant eats more, and the fact that she doesn't have to, she lost her pregnancy in the 8th month. Now he just saved himself tremendous savings. She used to eat 1 piece of bread and a little, now she's going to eat 3/4 of a piece of bread and she'll be fine. So that 1/4 piece of bread every day, you have to put it on the cheshbon. There's a lot of quarters, times 30, whatever, it's gewaldige stuff. So just to understand what's going on here, we have no idea what's flying because we eat meat and sholent and then fish, then we eat more meat, and then we have these platters that come out. It's meshuga. But in All for the Boss, brings up mice, I think I saw it in All for the Boss, that there was a kid in Kamenetz, Cheder. The kids used to get 1 slice of bread every day. So the kid took his slice of bread and tossed it over the fence. So they made a little meeting. They want to kick this kid out of the school. So chutzpah. So they looked into it and they saw that this kid, his brother, wasn't in cheder yet. And his brother was starving. Didn't have anything to eat. So he would take his own piece of bread and sacrifice his own piece of bread and toss it over the fence so he could have bread. No, it's not there. He's a bum again. So I saw it somewhere. Akaponim. One of these mices. It's a mice Chaya. But if you think about the how poor the people were in the time of the Gemara, and we had a lot of sugyas that were mechashev, the mezainis from this day to that day, the kala, you have to pay, you don't have to pay. It was a big thing. So we're considering now, look, the husband saved a little money, he doesn't have to feed his wife a little extra. So you have to take that into consideration. Not every woman, as Gemara is going to explain in a second, goes to the hospital, give birth. So maybe, but if you're going to take that off the bill, then certainly you have to take off food. And the mandama that says you have to take off the bill from food. You don't take off the hospital bill. My wife, she could get along. She's very smart. She could get along without the hospital. And she doesn't need a midwife. Avi, get ready, because I'm going to say a really corny joke now. Why is it called my wife is very smart? She doesn't need mi'aleh, because Eiza Chacham Harois Hanoilad. It is in the parsha of the mi'aleh. Rav Papa of Rav Huna Bereira of Yeshua of Duvdik of Aseder Rav Nachman B'Shishim. Says the Gemara, Rav Papa did like Rav Nachman in the story of the tree. Right? A Maisa Shoya, a guy cut down a tree, and Rav Nachman said, we got to do the 60 evaluation. So they did the 60. A small piece of land, in other words, 60. Same exact thing. A regular palm tree, we're going to go 1 in 60. We'll do the 60 evaluation. Remember the Reish Galos, he paskin, they said he was wrong. He paskin, you have to pay the full evaluation, 33.3. B'dikla parsa. Now, parsa means a choshev moed. What?
Why say they followed Rav Nachman, so why did you say
right, it doesn't say Rav Nachman in the second one. You're saying.
When it says the Hilchos, it should say
the
original shita.
Which is, you mean the second time doesn't say?
Right now it said the
Yeah, I hear.
What's the difference with the
Oh. Dikla Parsa is a very, very choshev palm tree, and I was saying that we're doing the construction in Miami. We bought that house from Dontrell Willis, and I spent like maybe half a year renovating that house with my chevra, and so I thought I'll be a chacham. You have to bring palm trees. I said, cut this palm tree down. Guys, are you Meshuggah? He showed me. I said, take it. We'll buy a new palm tree. Put it over here. This one, the palm tree went like that. So I said, it's a crooked palm tree. We have to. This palm tree is worth $50,000 because it goes like it's like in the island. And this one, he shows me the brochure. This is $20,000, $30,000. I had no clue. I was going to start cutting down trees there. Take my saw and start knocking down. So there are trees that have tremendous value, and when they have tremendous value, you evaluate them on their own by themselves, not on the 60 thing, on the 60 value. Eliezer Zira, Maisa Shoya says the Gemara, Misai Misani Ukme. He was wearing black shoes. Today, if you wear white shoes, they kick you out of yeshiva. In those days, if you wore black shoes, they kick you out of yeshiva. So we have a picture actually. He was mamish, not such a. He wasn't doing the right thing. He was wearing. So Taisa says they all used to wear black shoes, but they had white shoelaces. Man, like the bums today. Man, bums. We wear white shoelaces. What? Yeah. Right. So we're gonna say it's coming up. So what's going on here? Ashkechu, there's a place in Chicago that the Olam over there, they wear strimals and this, but some of them are Bali Tshuva. They just start putting on strimals and they wear white gym shoes. It's a Gavaldic place. You got to see it. Yeah. So now the Reish Golos was literally in this week's parasha, as I mentioned. You look in there, it says Yosef Yehuda. Rashi says that in Bavel, he talks about Bavel. There's going to be Reish Golos, people that are in charge of the Olam. If you wear the wrong shoes, you go to jail. So the cops caught him. What are you doing? Why are you wearing funny shoes? I'm in a velos. I'm doing something covered the Churban Abayis, Amrlei, At Chashivas Lasabuli Yerushalayim, who are you? In order to be, so that's the famous joke. A guy went to Nevardok and he hears two elder Bachrim saying, I'm a garnished, I'm a nothing. Another guy says, you're a nothing, I'm a bigger nothing. So the new guy figured, okay, he just jumps in there, says, I'm also a nothing. The guy looks at his friend and goes, you hear this Meshugana? He just came to yeshiva and he already thinks he's a nothing. Chutzpah. Anyway, who are you to do Avelos on Yerushalayim? You have to be on a Madrega. Savar, you are a Hava. He thought that he's about Gaiva. He's doing it for Gaiva. So this is a Gevaldik Amaisa. This guy, Mil Shmon Esrei, he let out a sigh like, ah! So his friend said, what happened? He says, I'll tell you, but you can't tell anybody. He said, listen, I get up every night at Chatzois, I do Tikkun Chatzois, and I wear these, don't tell anybody, I wear these shoes that have these nails, so I'm tired for the Churban, and I wanted to go get the Siddur for the Tikkun Chatzois with the Kavanas of the Rashash, was on the top. So I climbed on the chair. My body is so weak from all the sigufim, the tanesim don't tell anybody. And the kids are, and I just pushed it. I fell off the chair and the nail in my bottom of the shoe that doing it for Yisum went deeper into the thing and hit my bone. So it's no, don't tell anybody about my Anova. Okay, fine. So over here, they thought it's URO, turning a daf, even though Jonathan Stefansky is not paying for today. We're going to give him the zchus. He probably is. It's like from the last days, they chop a right and see 46 and 501c. They threw him into jail. You think I'm a Balgaiva? Gava Rabbano. I'm from the Gdoilim. I could prove it. How do you know that you're Balgaiva, that you're a Gava Rabba, that you're Gadol? You weren't even in the Yated. You weren't in any of these publications. There's no signs that say Tzadik Balair. Either you ask me a question, I'll ask you, and I'll prove it to you. Okay, fine. You ask. This question that we had over here. A person takes a date that's dates, the thing you eat, the small, tiny ones that are kufra. They're garnished. They're worthless in this store. My mishalim, or Malay mishalim to make kufr, you pay nothing. You don't pay anything. So he asks, but eventually, in a month from now, they'll grow to be dates. You're right. Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry, you made a mistake. You have to pay dates. But today, they're not dates. What are you going to pay? As Rav Nachman asks, it's future. I don't know. Okay, you're right. You got us. What's pshat? You do this thing called evaluation of 60. Who told you such a thing? Oh, I forgot to look it up. But I believe that this is a borrowed lashon of Shmuel Hanavi also. They said Shmuel Chayu Beizdino Kayim. Upon him, he was talking about the Amoyer Shmuel. He's alive and well. Go ask him. They left him in jail. Meanwhile, they sent people there. Who knows how long it took? He's sitting in jail for weeks because he wore the wrong color shoe. Shmuel says he's 100% right. That's how it is. You evaluate by 60, and they release him from jail. It says in the Mishnah, if you ate whole fruit, Mishal Peres, you pay the value of the fruit and you don't do the 60 business, says Reb Shimon. We don't pass like that. That's what he says. My timer. This whole thing, evaluation that we learn from a pasuk, that's something that needs to nourish from the field. But these ripe fruit, the given you have to pay what they're worth today. That's his sheet. So he says there's twice that Rav said a funny halacha, like not like the minority, and this is here. Don Rav ki Rabbi Meir, Rav paskin like Rabbi Meir in private, and in public he also paskin like Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon, we said, says you pay the value of the fruit today. You don't give him a discount and start at times 60 and a 60 fields. You don't do any of that. Don Rav ki Rabbi Meir Desanya. So we're talking about a ksuba of a woman. A woman has a lien on her husband's real estate. The husband wants to sell a piece of property. It happened to me, Mazel Tov. I tried to sell our house to Avi's best friend in Chicago. And my wife didn't want to sign on the thing. She said, no, we're not selling. Kids, so it took a ask Avi afterwards. trying to sell a piece of property. She says, absolutely not. I'm not selling the house. So he sells it anyway. Mazel Tov. I can relate. I told her, listen, I'm serious. I said, I bought the house without telling you, so I'm going to sell it without telling you. She didn't like it so much. I think she doesn't drive by that street. It's around the corner. She won't drive by there. It's sugar. There's a cheshbon. Without that, I would have been today in Lincoln. MS. It was a cheshbon to get to Eretz Yisrael somehow. She was masking, but it was a kafu. There was a kfiyah. And Asher Omra Roitzani. And then she had Charot Gemura. She said, you did it, oh my, so we went to Bezdin. No, we didn't. So he sold the first property, she refused to sign. The second property, she signed. So she's in a big tzara here. Ibdik Tsubasa. She lost her ksuba. Why? Because she let the first one go. She didn't let the first one go. But when he sold the first one, there was still a second property, so she could take her ksuba from the second one. But the problem is that she allowed the second one to be sold, so she lost her ksuba, because it's all dependent on the second one. Ibdik Tsubasa. She could say, listen, I didn't want to fight with him. He wanted to sell it. I'm married to this guy. When I'm going to start fighting with him, but I never wanted to sell it. Remeir says no. If she wanted to do nachas ruach, she would have done nachas ruach. Why did she fight with him on the first one? If she's such a good wife, she doesn't want to fight. So why did she fight on the first one? So obviously, she's not into this nachas ruach. She really wanted to make the money, and that's why it's a good sale. So okay, so the Rav passing like this, like Remeir. And he also passing like that whatever you eat, that's what you pay. You don't do 60, you don't do anything. That's how you passing. We don't pass like that. Says the Eli Mishnah, sponsored by Moshe Cohen, L'Schus, Panos berevach and Ruchni is berevach. Hamagdish b'soich zdei chaver shlei b'shus. You go, you use your friend's field as a storage facility without permission. And the owner's animal, the dog, comes and destroys it. Potter, of course you potter. No chiddush here. If the animal had damage, Rabbi Greenman, how was the damage? Last time you told me. By slipping, not by eating. The Balgadish is chayiv. And if he had permission to put his stuff there, of course the Balsad is chayiv. Look, it's not such. Of course, it's a Gemara limit, not like your Rebbe. Remember, we had this whole machlokes. Do you need the owner to say specifically, "I will guard your stuff," or if he says, "Sure, bring it in," you could park your car here while you go to America, you go to Israel. Then I'm not taking a chrayis. I am taking a chrayis. We had the whole shayla limit, not like your Rebbe. The Rebbe, Omar Chikav Balabais Lishmor. He has to say specifically with his mouth. Omar Papa, check this picture out, and you'll understand the whole thing. This is a facility for storage facility for wheat. Everybody in the neighborhood participates, they pay for a guard, and they bring their stuff there. So now, the question is, when I bring my wheat to the guard, does the guard say, I'm a Kabul Shmira, and does he have to go through the whole thing? Or everybody understands, he's the guard, and when he says, come in, you swipe your card, and he goes like this, he motions to come in, that means he's Makabel Shmira. That's all it is. So says Gemara, Benota Beidori Askin on the Kivin Domarle, Ayil Ugdoi, she says, come inside, Ayil Ventalahu. That's the same exact thing as saying, I will be Makabel myself, Shmira. Says the Eli Mishnah, sponsored by Moshe Cohen. We had all this, Rabbi said it's all Chazara. The Gemara brought it many times. If you take a flame and you give it to a kid by Achnas Sefer Torah, the flame is bigger than his body, and he runs around, this is what they do in Eretz Yisrael. It's normal. Nobody really ever got damaged by it, I don't think. Besides a few kids that their face is not the same thing anymore. Fine. So he takes it and he burns the car. You're chayiv min shamayim b'nam b'dinei adam. This is called grama. Shal bi apikeach. Certainly, if you send it with the bardas, apikeach chayiv. He's chayiv. Echad avisur. So says the Gemara, if it's necessary for a few ingredients, the person that brings the last ingredient, he's chayiv. So a person brought a flame. A flame by itself is going to go out. And the second person, he brought some wood. The last guy is chayiv because he brought the wood. The first guy brought wood. Wood by itself obviously can't create a flame. And the other guy brought the flame. The second guy is chayiv. You needed to fan it out. The fire by itself is nothing. The wood by itself is nothing. You need a guy to sit there and fan it. The fanner is chayiv. Lipsa ruach. If the fanning happened by Hakadosh Baruch Hu's wind, kulam pturim, you're all potter. Omer shlakish mishmei lechizkiya. So we had a machlokes in the Masechta. Remember, is eish mishum chitzai or eish mishum amoinai? How do we view fire? Is fire like your animal that walks around and causes damage? That's mamoinai. Or is fire a direct force that comes out of your hand? So Omer Rish Lakish is the one that says it's your mamoin. It's actually like your animal. So that this whole mission is talking about that he gave him something that has potential to be a flame. He gave him a coal. But if you give him a real flame, Chaya, why? My time on Ma'asav Kagarmaloi. You gave him your animal that caused damage. You gave him your fire. It's your mammon. Rabbi Yochanan, on the other hand, holds that it's really like a bullet. It's like your force. I feel a Mazel Tov is potter. Even if you give him a full flame, your potter. My time tzafte the cheresh garmaloi. It's the way he grabs it. In other words, the control. Where did the control come? He went to the right, to the left. It's because of the cheresh. It's because of the shaita. It's not because of you, and it's not your mammon. It's your chaitz, and your chaitz took a left turn because of the cheresh. So now you're not chayiv anymore. And you're not chayiv until you give him thorns, silta, some small wood, shraga, and a flame. Then definitely it's you because you gave him all the ingredients. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Shir malo, isisoy nayalorim, ayyavo Ezri. Ezri mimadino, isishomayim ores. Ayidin lamoder klecho, ayonum shimrecho. Yinei lo yinum lo yishon, shimei Yisrael. Adinoi shimrecho, adinoi zchusim yadiminecho. Yoy mama shemesh lo yakekov, yireach baloilo. Adinoi shmecho mikoro, yishmor es nafshecho. Adinoi yishmor es zchusim me'atov yadilom. Achaynu ko beis Yisrael anasul mitzor shivim bein bayavash mokim racham alim mitzor levacha ume'afei lorim shivim legula. Ashto v'galav zman koriv v'neimar omei yishkoyach.